Okay, yeah, the usual. No kidding. That is the truth.
Philip Rivers, just unbelievable start in these first 5 games. What have you seen from him, and what's been the difference maybe in his performance?
Gosh, he's been pretty good since I've been with him. Since we've been, I'm not saying because of me. I'm saying because in my time, with him, that's what I've seen. You know, he really is one of the best players in the league, and he really works at it. That's what you admire so much about him. But this year, this offseason, he really worked hard at his conditioning, his fitness. I think one of the things when you get a little bit older, that becomes more important. And, you could see it just in him progressing through the offseason. Not that he hasn't worked in the time before, but, and I think he's very comfortable and pleased with the guys that are around him. I think, we had a good feeling at the end of the season last year with this group, and it was pretty much a lot of the same guys back. So that certainly helped a lot, too.
How often is it that a quarterback will kind of hit that wall and then never really be the same as opposed to what Philip seems to be doing and even just elevating?
You know what? I think you maybe could have said that a few years ago, but it seems like now with some of the other guys that are doing it, a lot of it has to do, I think, with some of the protection that the NFL has given these guys, which I think is important. And I think other thing is, having a nutritionist here who talks about things to, healthier and work and hydrate. And, not that once again, hadn't been talked about before, but I just think the focus now is more on taking care of your bodies, and guys are in better shape at an older age, and, he's really playing good football.
Is the way offenses have changed, does that have any impact too? Just more short passes, more guys in space, quicker passes where quarterbacks aren't getting hit as much?
It's interesting. I think offenses have changed because defenses have changed. You got some guys over there that are incredible players that you're having to scheme things to try to keep them from wrecking a game. And so sometimes, you're attacking different games will change based off of what you have to do. But I think quarterbacks like Philip that can adapt, and if you look at what he was doing 10 years ago as opposed to what he's doing now, the type of passes, the different things that are going on, it's probably a little bit different. I know the terminology for him because he was in the same system for a long time. But the one thing that's been consistent in that whole time is that he's been a good football player. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Talked a lot, didn't say nothing.
There's like 8 quarterbacks with 70% completion percentages or more. Scoring numbers are way up. Is it a combination of the rules changes or more of the short passing game?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. The short passing game has come up, but if you look at our yards per attempt or yards per completion, or you look at the number of plays that pass plays that we've had over a certain number of yards, there's still a lot of plays down the field that are in there. I think once again, maybe because of the rule changes, maybe because of the way defenses are playing, because they're able to do more things. Because they have better athletes, they're playing different coverage schemes. You're going through a progression. You take what's there instead of some of the differences that have been there in the past.
What's Cleveland's bunch of young playmakers? What jumps out at you immediately when you watch them tape?
For
Cleveland's defense.
Well, we've played them, I guess, for the last 2 years. This will be the third time in 3 years. They've gotten a lot better. I mean, I think that they've got a scheme there that's very complex. Coach Williams does a great job with that. And, you can obviously see that he's had some guys that have been there now for a couple of years. They're getting it, and they have some talented players. They're a good defense.
They've got a lot, and their pressure numbers are
through the roof.
Yeah. Is it because those guys have gotten more knowledge of the scheme, or has he changed things up a little bit?
No, I think that's part of what they do. I mean, I'm certainly not an expert in what he does, but he's a good football coach. Coach Greg is a great football coach, and he's always had a pressure package that involves a lot of different things, and it makes it tough on an offense.
How do you think Baker's this a couple of different ways in terms of the completion percentage? I think where Philip is at right now, I think he hasn't been as high since maybe 2013, the first year you were here. Is that part of it, what you said, that the emphasis is just if you see number one and you like it, just give it to him and try to stay ahead of the sticks?
I think that's kind of what the game, not just us, the game has evolved to. And, having possessions, being able to convert third downs, that's a big part of it. Not having third and longs. Maybe some of it is because when you get in those third and longs, you're seeing a lot of different pressures and things that make it difficult for you. On the surface, to sit in here when we're talking, it's easy to say that, as a part of conversation. But I just think that sometimes you're wired to, you get into a rhythm of, this guy's here, this is where we're looking to go. We didn't get that coverage. Okay, I'll get it to the back. I mean, Philip's probably been one of the best ever at getting it to the backs, and he's done that with LT. He's done that with Ryan. He's done that, obviously, now with Melvin, and that's a big part of it, too. But I think we've got some guys here that are very versatile as receivers, not just the backs or the tight ends or the wide receivers, and they're able to do more things. Keenan is a guy that you can plug in a bunch of different spots, and he can catch a short pass and make it go a long ways, and he can win, and he can, we get Tyrell on some of those crossers, and there's all kinds of different things that you do, and he's able to manage that and go through the progressions and get it done. So a lot of it is because he just operates so fast mentally.
You guys started off the season with Russell and Joe opposite sides. Now you guys have Cole and Tevye. How do you think they've done in their starting role?
You know what? They have done a good job. I mean, we went into that game with 2 tackles last week that were, Sam has played well. He's done a nice job. His first start, obviously, last year was against the Jets, and having played for a stretch now, he's doing a much better job. And, I could give credit to these guys. I think a lot of it has to do with the chemistry of the O-line and just the fact that the next guy steps up and has to do it, and he's got some communication from Schofield and Feeney that really helps. Those guys are really good about communicating with the tackles. But, look, it's a credit to those guys. It's not easy to do what they did. Trenton last week, for his first game as a rookie, to come in here as an undrafted guy and start and play and do a good job, we're lucky to have that. Tom and his staff did a great job with those guys.
How pleased have you been with the receivers and tight ends with the blocking downfield?
Well, last week wasn't one of our better games that way. Up until that point, we've been doing pretty good. But some of our issues last week in the run game where we weren't as efficient as we've been is because of some of our blocking downfield. So, and some of it was the scheme that we were facing, some change-ups that we've done. But, I would guess that if you ask those guys, our guys, that's what they'd say. We can be better with some of our blocks downfield. Up until that point, we've, on Austin's catch that went for 40-something yards, tremendous block by Keenan on that one. Great job. And that was a big part of the reason why he was able to get in. But there were a number of others in the runs where we let guys get on our edge or get past us, which we've got to do better with.
On a few third downs, like 3rd and 7 or something like that, there's been a couple plays in the last couple games where you take shots, 5 yards just before the first down marker. Is that, you wanting to get the ball in the playmaker's hands and let them get the rest of it, or is that the pressure dictating that, or do you want to see it go beyond the first down marker? How does that kind of?
Well, yeah, we do want to see it go past the first down marker. We were saving it for 4th down. We wanted to increase our 4th down percentage. I tell you what, it's all different. You can't put one thing on it. Some of it is protection. Some of it is the pressure. Some of it is we've had a history here of getting it to guys underneath and being able to run for the first down. They've been very effective with it. And, there's a lot of guys with examples of that, whether it's a back, whether it's a receiver. Part of the scheme is that. A lot of times you have different checks, and that's one of the ones that you get to, and we expect it. Now, quite honestly, we had 2 last week that should have been first downs, and we didn't execute our technique the right way. So, that's where we've got to continue to get better. But it's really a combination of it all.
Phillips' interception rate is, I think, right now it's the lowest of his career. How much has that just helped the offense, just limiting those turnovers, especially when you go up against a defense that leads the league in takeaways?
I think if you look back in it, you hate to talk about the past, but in 2016, we were pretty good offensively, but we turned the ball over way too much, and that hurt us. And I think you can see a market improvement over the last 2 years in us being able to be better in that way. It's always a work in progress. We make a point of talking about that every week. Alfredo Roberts stands up in front of the offensive guys and talks about different things every week, just so it's in their consciousness. And of course, Coach Lynn, really does a good job with that. That's something he's made a big emphasis with, and hopefully that'll continue.
How has Phillip maybe changed things to throw fewer interceptions? Is he taking fewer risks, or is it just a product of the offense?
You know what? I wish I could tell you. I mean, the natural inclination is to say he's taken less risks, but you know what? He's made some tremendous throws that were, you would say, wow, that was kind of a risky throw. Well, he got it in there, so it worked. So, you know what? I don't know. I think maybe our guys have played well as a group. Our line's done a good job. Our receivers, like I said, have done a bunch of different things, whether it's blocking, lining up at different spots. The tight ends have contributed, and our running backs really have done well. So all of those guys together, I think, have been playing at a high level, and I think that's helped. Okay. Thanks.